Miss Amel?
Here.
Miss Cristobal?
Here.
Miss C. Giovanni?
Here?
Ms. Hollenstadt will be absent tonight. Mr. Chair?
Here.
Mr. Sampone?
Here.
Mr. Toth?
Here.
Ms. Wajowitz?
Here.
Ms. Calderon?
Here. Notice of the January 27, 2025 meeting of the Board of Education was emailed to the clerks of the boroughs of Essex Fells, North Caldwell, and Roseland, and to the Township of Fairfield, and to the editor of the Progress on January 7, 2025, and the Star Ledger on the same day. We are just going to quickly confirm our committees that we established and have assigned to various board members. So anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 3 will be voted upon in one motion, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions, comments? I'd like to just say thank you to Debbie Hollenstadt, Ruth DiGiovanni, and Mary Adele Waldrich who are taking our delegates' positions. We're really pleased that we are going to have a voice at the county and state level, so I appreciate it. Yes.
Miss Amel?
Yes.
Miss Cristobal?
Yes.
Miss C. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Sampone?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Wajowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes. I'd just like to do just a brief report. Today was established as the Holocaust Remembrance Day because 80 years ago was the liberation of camps. Today's program was benefited by our high school, and it will be presented at the middle school, and it was from a organization that is called 2GNJ, which is the second generation of survivors. It was an extraordinary program. We thank those who brought it to our school, and I just like two of our members who were also there. I was very grateful that we were invited. Sometimes we don't get to see all the good stuff, but it was wonderful to be part of this program. And John Toth and Ruth DiGiovanni were both present. We have a few that will be attending next week, so if they could just tell us their thoughts and experience today.
I agree. Firstly, I was really taken with the attentiveness of the students who attended and really how respectful they were in their questions, but also their demeanor for a pretty long presentation. And really to Ruth Millman, who was the presenter, who was a child of the Holocaust, really an extraordinary story, which seemed to have, I thought, if an adult audience, like so much more detail and depth, that I thought the way that she crafted it to be appropriate for freshmen and juniors, and also maybe people who are not as well versed in Holocaust education. She was able to sort of make it experiential, but also educational.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ruth covered off on a lot of the points. An amazing story from a survivor, and the trials and tribulations that she and her family went through, and how many family members they lost and friends. I think she did a fantastic job presenting to the age level that was present. You could hear a pin drop in the room. The students were extremely well behaved. I was really impressed. And we had several, maybe 3 or 4 folks brave enough to stand up and ask this amazing woman questions. And I think they were all great questions. They really did a good job. It was a great presentation.
And how poised she was on those questions, really on the spot.
And how sharp.
Yeah.
87 years
Really
old.
impressive.
Yeah.
Gone through the trauma that this person has gone through, and she was so articulate and able to respond to questions. Accolades to the staff, because it's definitely a reflection on your teaching on how to establish appropriate behavior in a setting of that nature. It was extraordinary. I mean, at one point I thought, there's no fanfare. There's no screen coming down. There's no dancing and jumping and music. There's just these 4 women sitting there telling, and this one woman telling her story, and I kept thinking, how are they going to react? Are we going to hear commentary or whatever? But as they said, you could hear, a pin drop. It was, and her story, you just left there with this feeling inside of you that you couldn't even imagine. You couldn't imagine what this woman went through, her family, and I was just very appreciative that she shared it,
Yeah.
and that she came and did this for our students, and it's always great when it's part of your curriculum and it's in a book, and maybe you see a film or you go to a museum, and especially if you go to the Holocaust Museum. But when you have somebody sitting up there explaining to you what it was like to go from an extremely wealthy environment that she came from, going to the gutters, the ghetto, the no food, it was just, I applaud you. It was a great program. I hope it's something that, the kids will benefit from going in the future. So accolades to all of you.
Can I say one more thing that was very interesting, which you don't hear that perspective a lot, is she presented that her father had taught them to have like immense gratitude for being able to come to America, and that basically you should devote your life giving back to this country that's taken you in and changed your life, and you don't always hear that as part of a Holocaust story about like the countries that then take you, and how her life was very transformative in obviously not only telling her story, but also giving gratitude and appreciation for then being an American. And I thought that was a different slant that you don't always hear on a Holocaust survivor.
So thank you to the board members who attended, and thank you for inviting us.
Was that recorded? Or would that be available for the rest of the people that was in the email?
Just again.
Okay.
In middle school.
You know,
She's presenting again next week.
Right, but for people that can't make it because we have during the day we have a time job.
Awesome. I'll send Damien a link. I'll send him the link that we didn't ask permission to record it.
Okay.
That was just
Wondering, yeah. But it is, but it's not, it's fine. It's just like, unfortunately, like, as much as I personally, I would love to.
yeah.
I just put a big off working. But totally.
We've assigned our new committees and our members, and our first meeting will be tomorrow, policy, and going forward we have finance. Okay, one more, and then we'll be part of safety and security going forward.
Before I get to my report, I also share similar thoughts to today's presentation. It was extremely powerful. But what I also want to mention is that I just want to thank our administrators for making this a priority, our principals for making this a priority for our students. And I also want to thank Laura Drago, especially for really kind of putting this together, bringing the group to us in the summer, having these conversations. And then the other great thing is that in addition to the assemblies, they're actually going to come back next month with us, and Caesar and Laura are working closely to get teachers trained in different ways that they can introduce the Holocaust into the curriculum. So that's kind of another phase of this. So it's a team effort between our admin, and I'm really excited that we're able to do this for our students. Okay. Just a couple things. So before I get to the school start times, On the agenda, you'll see that we have some reference here to January 2025 is School Board Recognition Month. And board members don't always get a lot of recognition, so I have the opportunity to say some nice things about the board and bring awareness to what they do. So New Jersey School Boards Association has declared January 2025 as School Board Recognition Month. Our board members devote countless hours advocating for our schools, and while these individuals come from diverse backgrounds, they work together for the common goal of supporting our students and educators. In addition to attending regular monthly meetings, board members participate in training, they go to professional development conferences, and attend school events as part of their duties. So I want to take this opportunity to thank our board members for their hard work and efforts in making our school district one we are very proud of.
I'd like to thank our board members here who have volunteered all their time and effort and really do give of themselves to be active participants in decision-making and supporting the students, the staff, the building, everything here. It's a wonderful group, we're cohesive, we're collaborating, every day, and it's a great part of a group to be. For me, I'm very privileged and honored to be a part of this group, so I'm glad that we are recognized.
Okay, this Thursday is our first school start times committee meeting. We've assembled a really great group of students, parents, staff, and board members. Students represented from all backgrounds, grade levels, parents from all 4 communities, staff from all different content areas, and a few board members are on the committee from different towns as well. So we really tried to work hard to put together a group that we thought could come to the table with an open mind and different perspectives as we go through the process of looking at our school day and our start times. I'm looking forward to a collaborative process, and next month I'll kind of come back and give you guys an update on where we're at. And with that being said, I'll turn it over to, I think Stacy's up first.
So, happy School Board Recognition Month. I want to, didn't know that was the case. I know now. I want to thank you for next time. But I want to thank you for all the support you always show to the English department and for everything we do here at West Essex. So, for those of you, I know there's some new faces here. I'm Stacey Casais, I'm the supervisor of English Reading and Libraries. And tonight I'm going to talk to you about how the English department has been working to support our district goals. And I would like to do that through the lens of our district's vision: we engage, we empower, and we inspire. So our district goals this year are to cultivate career readiness and real-world learning experiences and ensure a positive, inclusive school culture and climate. The way the department has been working to reach those goals are by developing real-world interdisciplinary learning and writing experiences, which I will be talking about soon, and through the use of ethical and appropriate use of AI in teaching and learning. Now, I'm going to kind of go back and forth to talk about how our teachers and our students engage, empower, and inspire, but I first want to highlight a few things that we as a department have been doing to reach our goals. First off, we engage students in authentic learning. The props that I have brought here are this bottom picture here. This is a learning activity from one of our new reading cycles courses where students learn research and media literacy. One of the things they do is they learn how to use the library databases. And sometimes students have a hard time conceptualizing that what they're looking at on the screen are actual physical documents. So Jenna Moss, our librarian in the middle school, kind of begged and borrowed these props from other libraries so that students can really physically handle things like maps and pictures and letters and trade journals and magazines and newspapers. And the students kind of did a little scavenger hunt, and it was really amazing seeing them, click into place. Like, hey, the things we're looking at are real things. We empower students by preparing them for future careers that don't exist yet, right? So we've been exploring a lot of artificial intelligence and its implications in the real world, and we aspire to build character through our curriculum and through collaborations with things like No Place for Hate to create a positive climate and culture in our school. Here's a list of the English teachers on the right. We have our special ed teachers who work very closely with us and our 2 librarians. Teachers engage constantly in planning and preparation, looking at data from things like Linkit and the NJSLA to plan out lessons, to find common strengths and weaknesses. Our most recent PDs, teachers worked in grade bands of 7, 8, and 9, and 10, 11, 12 to develop a common language specifically around the new standards. So we have a couple new things this year. We have a true crime honors elective that's available to juniors and seniors. It's one of the few English electives available at the honors level, so that's been really successful so far. We have new reading cycles, which the resources I showed you were part of those. And then the biggest thing were the new standards. We revised all our curriculum to align with the New Jersey standards that were just adopted for this school year. Our biggest change was probably in 7th and 8th grade, where we added the reading cycles, but also revised our English curriculum to more fully align with 9th grade to ensure a more seamless transition between those 3 grade levels, and also having a more integrated approach to language arts. But I wanted to highlight the vision that New Jersey also adopted. This is the first time we have a vision statement for English language arts standards, and this is just the beginning. And if you look, it says, an English language arts builds readers, writers, and communicators prepared to meet the demands of college and career and to engage as productive American citizens with global responsibilities. So the state standards really align with our own district and department mission and vision, so that's always really validating what we're planning. We engage students, right? These are some pictures from our new reading cycles. So for the first time, students will be cycling through, or are cycling through, 4 unique courses at each grade level in the middle school. And these provide opportunities for differentiation and enrichment. The middle school is heterogeneously grouped, so these cycles offer an opportunity for students who are really self-motivated to take on more challenging work, and they are allow teachers the opportunity to really dig deeply into specific standards. So in research and media literacy, as I said, they do a lot of research skills, and they're also thematically grouped. So in 7th grade, they focus on change makers. In 8th grade, they focus on sustainability. So in those units, students can engage in their own projects that they select through the research. And the nice thing about that is it also aligns with a lot of the state mandates. Obviously, the climate change initiative aligns nicely with sustainability, and they have an opportunity to research different change makers in 7th grade, which touches upon a lot of our other mandates as well. Communication and rhetoric is a public speaking course in 7th grade, followed by reading and performing drama in 8th grade, where students practice those speaking and listening skills, which are really important, especially as they go on in high school. In the real world, they're able to present in front of their peers, they're able to be brave and fail sometimes, but in a safe space, and the kids are a little nervous going into it, but they always end up really proud of themselves in the end. Reading for young adults helps foster a love of reading, so we expose kids to a lot of high-interest young adult texts. Again, they're often self-selected and differentiated based on interest and ability. So students are not only learning the reading skills, but they are gaining the experience of just having that time to read for pleasure as well. We empower teachers, right? So students aren't the only ones learning here, right? We've done a lot of professional development in the beginning of the year. I'm sure Caesar's has spoken to you about our work with interdisciplinary lessons in the fall. On the bottom right, there's some pictures from the humanities lesson. And I wanted to just point out that we did a group discussion there, and afterwards, teachers from other disciplines were coming to me, were coming to the English teachers. This is something we do in English class all the time. And a lot of other teachers were really interested in what we were doing and asking us to share rubrics and ideas for preparing students for these types of discussions. So it's something that we're really proud of, and that we're hoping something that we do in the English department can be spread out to other departments as well. And then the other focus of professional development has been on AI in my department. So we've been spending a lot of my department meetings, the morning PDs, talking about how we can utilize it professionally, responsibly, where it falls in classroom use. And as you can see, these quotes are from different emails from throughout this past school year and last. The teachers range from being super excited and wanted to experiment and to share resources to extreme skepticism. So our teachers definitely stretch the gamut when it comes to their opinions. But one thing we all have agreed on is that it's changed what we do in the classroom. Right? Whether we're integrating it or not, whether we're skeptical or we're embracing it, we are all in agreement that it takes a lot for students to buy into something if they know a computer can do it for them. So we've been working on developing engaging lessons that inspire curiosity, that encourage creativity and critical thought. We had a voluntary book club within the English department where we looked at Matt Miller's AI for Educators, where he talks about the increasingly blurry lines surrounding academic integrity and intellectual property, and we've had some rich discussions with that. And right now we're focusing on trying to, as Matt Miller puts it, look at the world through future glasses and prepare kids for a world that we don't really know what's going to look like. Right? We empower students by providing them with the tools they need to succeed. So we have a lot of supports in ELA, the biggest one being teacher feedback. If you walk through our halls in the high school, the middle school, at lunch, after school, in the morning, you'll see teachers conferencing one-on-one with kids all the time on their writing, reviewing assessments. You'll see them going over different strategies. And it's not just our struggling learners. Our honors and AP kids are the ones who are most often meeting with teachers, asking how can they do better. They might come up with a question about a research topic and go to the library. And we have the writing center that high school students can drop in at any time and meet with the teachers who are there. We have NHS tutoring. And then in the middle school, new this year, we have the learning lab. So Mr. Ashoff's also going to talk about it in his presentation and expand on it a bit. But this is run in the middle school in 121 on three out of the 4 letter days at lunch. And it's run by the supervisor and Caesar, and we invite kids. Any kid can drop in for 5 minutes to the whole lunch block. And they come in for extra help, for questions on homework, to review for quizzes, and it's always really busy. You can see Mr. Ashoff and Mr. Lerner over there, and Ms. Drago's badge are behind me. But it's been really successful this year, its first year. And then we also have Foundations. There's a picture of that on the bottom right. Foundations has been around for a few years. It's a support class. I had the privilege of teaching it last year, the English side, along with Mr. Lerner teaching the math side. And that's run during the school day. Students are identified by their NJSLA scores. And it's really a class that's designed to individualize instructions based on the needs of each individual student. So we collect a lot of data and we target instruction. You'll see some kids working in groups, some kids working individually. The teachers didn't want to be in the picture, but they were conferencing with other students at the time. And there's always a wide variety of learning going on. And then we also have Lunch Squad, which is available at lunch to some of our most struggling learners. Okay? West Essex students aspire. We have a ton of clubs and extracurricular activities that are housed in the English department, from book clubs to the film club. We have literary magazines and newspapers in both buildings. I want to highlight 2 tonight. Rogate. Rogate is actually an interdisciplinary gifted and talented club in our middle school. But one of our English teachers is the moderator. And I want to highlight it tonight because they teamed up this year with one of our reading cycles courses, which is also designed to be interdisciplinary. So the Rogate Club teamed up with our public speaking course in 7th grade, and they ended up sending a team of kids to the Essex County Public Speaking Competition, where they placed 2nd place overall on the varsity level and took home a bunch of individual awards as well. So it was nice to see our program getting involved with this G&T club as well. And then secondly, our newspaper, I always sing the praises of the Wessex Wire. Please visit the website. The Winter Sports Media Package is coming out soon. They were working on production of that. But every year, our student journalists go to Rutgers to participate in the Garden State Scholastic Press Association convention, and there are competitions there with on-demand writing. Right, so students are given a prompt, they're given a set amount of time, they have to write on demand, and then it's sent to professional journalists to score. And we don't get the results right away, but we just got the results, and Sophia Rosen, one of our managing editors, came in third place in the state in that on-demand writing competition. So we're really proud of the work they do. We aspire teachers. Our West Essex teachers do more than what they do just inside the classroom, so I wanted to highlight some of that. Our teachers are engaged in volunteer work. They travel. They are getting second and third degrees. And these are teachers who, some of them are like 22 and right out of college and keep going, and some of them have been teaching 20 years and are going back for their third or fourth certificate and things. All right, we have a lot of talented musicians and artists. And the nice thing about this is that they share these talents with their students. So our teachers perform at the NEHS Showcase. So they bring what they're learning in their classes to the classrooms. And not only does this allow the students to see their teachers as people and human beings, but it also it provides great role models for students in what it means to be a lifelong learner, right? That learning doesn't just end when they graduate West Essex or college, that you can have a rich academic career even after you graduate. And then finally, the moment everyone knows looks forward to, how we alumni engage, empower, and inspire. And piggybacking off of our teachers, the first alumni spotlight is Miss Stephen Hagel, class of 2007. You've heard a lot about Miss Hagel when Dr. WB, when she spoke about her earlier this year. She was the New Jersey Governor's Educator of the Year at West Essex. And I chose her this year because I really was trying to focus on our vision, and she embodies what it means to be a West Essex graduate, not through all the awards she's won, because she's won many, but through her character. She is just a special human being who is so considerate and so caring that an hour ago I checked my email and there was an email from her. My oh, good luck tonight on your presentation. She just is very, very caring. She makes it a point to reach out to each individual student and family and form that connection so that her students see her as a person first. I have a ton of emails I was going through from students, but I picked one to highlight. This is from one of her students from last year after the No Place for Hate lesson. Thank you for talking about those topics. It really made me feel more comfortable. I look forward to seeing you every day because I love the class and I feel comfortable in your class with you. It made me feel less alone. I really appreciate you and what you do. And this is, again, one of many. And, I asked her to share some thoughts about her own experience here. And the words she shared, again, really validate what we do and what our goals are as English educators. So she talks about the humanities as being more than a subject. It's a path to self-discovery and connection with others. As a student, I was inspired to think critically, challenge assumptions, and find my voice. And she certainly has. So she doesn't tell a lot of people these things. She's a very humble person, but she aspires to write her own memoir one day. She does volunteer work. Every summer she goes to Lake Tahoe and volunteers with environmental efforts in an organization called Keep Tahoe Blue, Lead to Save Lake Tahoe. And every time I talk to her, she's got something new going on. And she never really shares it publicly, so I'm really proud to share. I asked her permission to share it with you all tonight. She's a wonderful human being. And then for a more recent graduate, Katie Pack. So Katie graduated only 2 years ago, but in her own words, she's done so much, it feels like forever ago that she was in high school. She is currently a sophomore at Emerson College, studying media arts production with a minor in business studies and communication for the arts. In her freshman year alone, she worked on 11 different film projects while taking on a full course load. In the fall, she had an internship with Our National Conversation, a California company that works on producing nonpartisan political news. And this semester coming up, she's doing 2 internships, both in Massachusetts, another age production in Massachusetts Film Office, and one for Massachusetts Film Office, where she is a location scout while taking a full course load. And in the summer, she got accepted to the South by Southwest intensive program. So she'll be flying out to Austin, and she has an all-access pass to the film festival there. So she has a ton going on. It was actually her film teacher who pointed her out to me, and you know, he talked about what a leader she was, and how she started the Montclair Film Festival field trip. When she won grand prize there while she was in high school. When I spoke to her, I said, I hope that we see one of her films there one year. So what I want to do, though, is end this presentation by reading her full quote, because I also shared this with my English faculty, because to me, this is why we do what we do every day. So these were her words when I asked her to share about her experience at West Essex. And she wrote, I felt challenged and inspired by every teacher and every English course I took during my time at West Essex. It was every year without fail my favorite class and my favorite subject. Freshman year English was still the hardest to me because it pushed me in a way that I hadn't been yet. But I'm forever grateful for that because it taught me so many essential writing and comprehension skills I still use on a daily basis, especially when writing is such a huge part of what I do today. I probably wouldn't be able to write and produce my projects without the things I learned from my parallel papers my freshman year, or the page-to-screen adaptation studies my sophomore year, or the extensive film unit my junior year, or the precision of the AP Lit curriculum my senior year. At film school, whenever there's seminars and media studies classes, I still, without fail, manage to bring texts like To Kill a Mockingbird and The Kite Runner, or plays like Much Ado About Nothing, A Streetcar Named Desire, and Macbeth, or the film On the Waterfront into the discussion almost every time, because the West Essex English Department curriculum and its teachers shaped much of my appreciation and understanding of how I view and how I approach both art and the world today. Thank you.
Nice, thank you. Wait a second. That's why I usually prefer to go first. But I'll do the best I can. I did not forget that it was National Sport Day. And so, if you will reach under your chairs. Thank you guys for all the hard work you do. I am thrilled to be able to have the opportunity to present a little bit of information about the mathematics and business department for you this evening. There we go. Perfect. So, yes, so my name is Greg Ashoff. I'm the supervisor of mathematics and business. I know you're not exactly split in half, but yes, I don't know you guys yet, so welcome. And then many of you I do know, which is awesome. So I'll be talking tonight about some of the progress that we've been making towards some of our district goals, as well as some interesting anecdotes and information about the West Essex Mathematics and Business Department, which I have the fortune of being a leader in and helping shape. So, first and foremost, I always include our annual Halloween picture. The West Essex Math Department always does something each year for Halloween, and so this year they decided to go with the Western theme. I missed the picture because I was splitting time to the middle school, but I actually, I really like, if you notice the picture, he has like the horse blow up thing. That was like a perfect angle, so I was really happy about that one. Our middle school team, of course, is very valuable as well. They, I think, did a theme this year for Halloween, but they didn't take one big group picture, so I haven't put more of a capital picture of them to share. We did lose a member of our math department this year, but we're actually very happy for him. He did not go too far. So Mr. Tim Walsh, who was a math and special ed teacher, has changed positions to our athletic director, as many of you already know, of course. And so he taught with us for over 9 years, and he is continuing his work at West Essex with us in the athletics department. So while we missed him in the mathematics classroom, in fact, just recently we had a vacancy that I needed to fill for a temporary amount of time, and I did approach him about the opportunity to jump back in, but because it is his first year as administrator, he felt that he was just a little too busy to return to the classroom at that moment. However, it's great to have sort of an ace in the pocket in the future if ever we have a need for a math teacher, which does occasionally pop up with between X, Y, and Z. So we do miss him, but are very happy to see that he is in a greener pastures in the athletics department. Some new faces as a result of that. So in the middle school, we have Jacqueline Carroll, who is a special education math teacher. We actually have a Jacqueline Carollo, which is getting confusing. But they are, we're very, very fortunate to have Jacqueline. She comes to us with a wealth of experience from one of our sending districts. And so we were glad to have her join us. And she is an excellent teacher with a good amount of experience and also knowledge of the school district already. We also have joining us at the high school, Stephanie Sorrentino. She is a special education mathematics teacher. She just began. She's actually teaching some science this year, as well as she was filling a position. That was a little bit different than the math schedule, but we're hoping to, her background is in mathematics, and so hopefully next year we'll be able to give her some more mathematics courses. In West Essex tradition, she also has a spouse who works at the middle school, and so it's great to keep it in the family, obviously. And it's I think a testament. She literally said in the interview that she was a teacher for a very long time in a competing district, we'll say, and she'd come home from work, her spouse would come home from work, and the thing that drew her to us was hearing about his experience at West Essex, and so I think that's a testament to. And he's not even in my department, so I'm bragging about somebody else at school. But it is, I think, a testament to sort of the family dynamic, and even not to put her on the spot because you may meet her one day and I don't want her to be embarrassed, but it actually was one of the retirement parties that she attended as a guest that she said, like, wow, like this is the place. Like I can't even imagine this, like this. I've never seen this in the community before. The feeling. So I think that's something that really resonated with me. And so we're very, very happy that she joined us, obviously. So talking about our district goals, of course, we know cultivating career readiness and real-world experiences and ensuring a positive and inclusive school culture and climate are goals that Mrs. Sias has already mentioned that I'll be continuing to expand on from the Mathematics and Business Department. Our department goal is specifically talking about mastery assessment to improve student outcomes, which is a program that we sort of piloted last year. So we have some results from that, which I'm excited to share, and then we'll continue to see that program grow throughout this year and sort of talk about the different ways that we can implement some of those procedures and policies. So first, talking about some real-world experiences for our students in the business realm, our FBLA and DECA state competitions in 2024, we sent over 70 students combined to both competitions. Historically, we were lucky to break around 20 for both. So this was a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous growth in the number of students who were excited about these competitions and went. What made this even, I think, more special, and we'll talk about this in a second, is that in order to qualify for the DECA competition, you actually have to qualify through a regional competition first. So our students demonstrated such excellence there that they were invited to continue on into the state competition. Our FBLA students are broken into two groups. Some took tests and demonstrate their abilities, which is awesome. Obviously, they were able to move on. Others just kind of sort of like joined like an automatic into Atlantic City. But the level of interest that went up is obviously really impressive. So we were thrilled to have that many students who went. Of that group of 70 students, we had 8 students actually move on and qualify to the national round. The national round typically takes place in the summer, and it is a little bit of a to-do. Many of the students who do qualify tend to be seniors. So they typically have graduated at that point. As a result, none of the students who qualified decided to pursue the national round. However, in the future, if we have a student, I think that we will have many students hopefully that will qualify in the future. That would be a really great thing to obviously, of course, see down the road. So fingers crossed. If any of your children are excited about DECA or are in it, maybe we can convince them to do it. But we'll see. We do have students who qualify for that national competition, which is great, and it would be great, of course, to eventually send some. The Turkey Classic, which is organized by our sport management course, enjoyed its 6th year. This was its highest year of fundraising. The teacher team did come in 4th, which is disappointing. We were 2nd last year. But the students who won were very, very impressive. And so it was a really, really great opportunity for the kids. It's a very fun night. I don't know if you ever had an opportunity to see it, but it's a really fun, student-led opportunity to see the kids in a really cool element. Everyone has T-shirts. They all decorate them. And it's a really, really nice vibe. And what's cool to see is the freshmen all the way up to the seniors. It's like a really big community event. That's pretty cool. And our digital marketing and social media course continues to grow the West Essex Instagram, which is We Nightlife, and they're in their 3rd year. Under the guidance of Ms. Fayetta this year, they're focusing on a little bit of some of the business side of it, which I think is really cool because I think digital marketing and social media is a big part already of marketing and then obviously in the professional world. And so affiliate marketing and brand deals and things like that are topics that they're talking about. Our goal for that course soon is hopefully maybe to create some local business relationships and continue to expand by maybe featuring products or having the kids be quote unquote micro-influencers for those products. Obviously, within the realm of the reasonableness of the school, and continue to let students get a taste of sort of what that might look like. And I think for our students, that could be a really exciting opportunity. In math, our scores improved across all subject areas after the Mastery Program pilot in 23 and 24. So that is, in my opinion, very, very good news. Our Algebra 1 scores and our NJGPA scores actually saw a significant increase in passing rates. Our Algebra 1 score, I believe, went up by around 8%. Our 8% of more students passed, and our NJGPA score went up, I think, somewhere around 6 to 7%, which in the realm of all things is very, very good from a year-over-year expectation. So both of those, I think, bode well for our students' continued growth. Not to say it's exclusively the mastery. There's obviously many different factors that come into play, but it is bodes a positive result to the future of the program. So we're going to continue to look into it. The mastery program, on that note, is being now implemented in all of our core subject areas, and we're continuing to evaluate it through a committee that we formed called the Math Mastery and Achievement Committee. So Mr. Duberg and myself, and I believe we have like 9 math teachers, somewhere around there, meet on a monthly basis, and we sort of talk about how the math department is doing, sort of the goals that we're working on. We talk about mastery, but we also talk about assessment. We talk about non-assessment metrics and measurements of how the health of the department, so to speak, extra help, anecdotal, things like that. And all of that comes together to sort of inform some decision making and some professional development for the department as we continue on. And last but not least, several of the courses through the mastery program have actually brought in some integrated projects. Since the PBA had left, there was obviously concern that we were going to be shifting back toward the traditional test and make it a little bit more stodgy and sort of like traditional. But many of the courses have embraced the idea of still including project-based assessment in our curriculum, which I think is really great. And they haven't really been necessarily, like, I don't want to say forced, but like strongly encouraged at the administrative level. It's something that teachers are excited about, which I think is great, because I think that makes the projects a lot more meaningful when the teachers are buying and kind of creating of their own. In terms of our culture and climate, so to start the year, this year and each year, we were able to host the Northern New Jersey Supervisors Association meeting for mathematics. So over 40 districts were able to come here. I think I used this exact same line last year, but I say it every time because I do mean it. I really, really like it when we host because I have a tremendous amount of pride for our campus, and not to say that other campuses aren't beautiful, but when I go and visit other schools, it's nice, but I always feel like when people drive up our driveway and see our school, they're like kind of blown away by that, and that to me is, I think, a point of pride for us, and so I always like to, it's like having, a nice, whatever you want to show it off, so I do like having that, and especially, in the fall, it's really pretty around here, so it's good to host that and have opportunity for people to see our school. The No Place for Hate lessons occurred last year in the middle school, and they're actually going to be occurring in the high school classes for math, and that's going to be taking place this February, so we're excited to be helpers in that initiative, and obviously it's a super important thing that administrations put together, facility administrations put together for us, which is good, and the committees that are associated. The other important curricular and algebra thing we've been including is the building thinking classroom lessons. So building thinking classroom is a concept basically where students are able to speak with one another throughout the course of a lesson and have an opportunity to have dialogue at the board using markers, and where there's not as much pressure as like filling out a piece of paper where you're kind of committing to whatever you're writing. One student has a marker, they're talking about it, they're erasing, they're fixing. And then the teacher is typically in the center of the room or walking around the room and monitoring their progress, giving them feedback, asking them questions. And it's nothing that's super, super crazy, out of the box thinking. It's a form of teaching that has existed, but a lot of our teachers have embraced sort of a higher level or a little bit of a higher level of fidelity to it. And because of that, very excitingly, we did have an opportunity to compare some results between teachers who were like maybe embracing that a little bit more and teachers who were embracing that a little bit less. And the teachers that did embrace it more did see higher test results overall, which is, again, a sign that like that kind of professional development and that sort of support for our teachers is important. And so we're going to continue to pursue that, which is cool. I believe that I mentioned the Math Mastery and Achievement Committee, of course, and our extracurriculars as well. In addition to FBLA and DECA, in math, we have our Math Honor Society. We have our math competitions, which include our math counts in the middle school, and also our Math League in the high school. And then last but not least, the computer science club as well. So all those opportunities exist for our students to continue to pursue their passions outside the classroom. The Learning Lab, which Ms. Casillas had mentioned, is something that the supervisor started running. We did not know what to expect when we started the Learning Lab. And what we found out when we started the Learning Lab, that it was the math lab. So about I would say 90% of the questions that are brought do have to do with mathematics. I don't know what that says about like me as a supervisor, but yes. So many of the students who do show up to the math lab are, I'm saying it, to the Learning Lab do typically come with math questions. As a result, Mr. Lerner and I are typically the two that are always in there because both of us do have the mathematics background. It's been really great in terms of just providing that support and that help. We've developed a really strong relationship with a good number of students. We have a large number of students who are coming every day and are taking advantage of that opportunity, which is awesome. And we're also having students who are using it as an intervention. And so in conversations that I'm having with parents, I'm encouraging, especially for our middle school parents, of course, and those students who are taking advantage of it, I think are enjoying the opportunity to feel a bit more confident in their coursework. About 2/3 engage with us with questions. The other 1/3 use the opportunity to work in small groups or alone. And they'll typically be working on either group projects or preparing for tests. We see them have their Chromebooks open a lot, working on MemBeam, which is a program that Ms. Casillas is obviously familiar with, or some, like quizzing each other back and forth. So it's a really nice environment for the students during the lunch to sort of have like a free opportunity to decide what they want to study, which is cool. Students typically are spending 25 minutes in the Learning Lab. For the ones of people watching, if you have a child who's in middle school, if you get there early, it's a lot easier to get your questions answered. At the end of the Learning Lab, it is very crowded, and so as a result, you may be waiting a little bit longer to get your questions. But yeah, many of the same students are coming each time we're available, which is awesome. So it is really nice. Just a couple pictures. So this is our math league competition from last year. This always occurs in the spring, so obviously these students, some of them moved on who've already graduated, but valedictorians in that picture there. But it was a very good opportunity for them this year. And I believe I mentioned a good amount of this. The mastery assessment, as I mentioned, which was part of our district goal, just to repeat it a little bit, basically has informed our district-wide mastery labs, which are in the middle school and the high school. These are opportunities for students to retest, which is basically sort of the mindset of the mastery program, focusing on reassessment and the opportunity for students to learn from their mistakes, continue to grow. We then use it to inform teacher professional development, including attending roundtables, and vertical articulation and curriculum meetings. We're also informed where the teachers have an opportunity to meet with each other, discuss what they've been noticing, and pass it back and forth along the grade levels. We also, at the end of each year, conclude the vertical articulation with the 6th grade teachers, which is great, so that way the elementary schools are involved in the conversation as well. Last but not least, our curriculum. We're continuing our rollout of the Big Ideas program, and so this year I'll be looking at that in a second, but we're on to our second to last members of that program. And that's the picture there. So this year we rolled out grade 7 and also our geometry curriculum. Next year we actually already have the Algebra 2 curriculum as part of our core curriculum. So next year will be our Math 8 curriculum, and we'll now have a completely cohesive program from grade 7 up to Algebra 2, which is obviously a very positive thing for our students, so they know what to expect from you. Some of our student work, so I featured a little bit of calculus work here. On the left, that was an assignment where students had to make an Instagram. That student chose Isaac Newton, who went to the gym a lot. On the right is a comic, and then in the center is actually from one of our state, that's a screenshot from a video. So this was, I believe, like a hand-drawn video that the student had made, and that was one of our national finalists that advanced from the DECA competition. So I don't remember exactly what the video was, but it involved, I think, like explaining how like a product placement worked, or not product placement, but like a market fit for a product worked. Through the guise of a bear that went fishing at some point, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so it was obviously a very impressive video. She was able to qualify at the state level. So now, did you want to take a picture of that? Sorry.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if that was my daughter.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
So our onto our alumni showcase. So first and foremost, I'm happy to talk about Sonia Shah. She is the class of 2019. She studied public health studies and pre-med at Johns Hopkins University, and she is currently attending Dartmouth University, specifically the Geisel School of Medicine. I had an opportunity to speak with her over the phone a couple of days ago. She has a younger sister still here in the district, but she herself is doing really, really well. She appreciated the fast-paced learning of her West Essex classes and felt like the type of expectations that we placed on her here made her feel right at home when she was at Johns Hopkins, that she could kind of keep pace with her classmates and things like that, which is awesome. Obviously, right, going to a top school like that, and having said that you had like the expectations and experience were similar, I think is obviously a feather in our cap. Math was her favorite subject through high school, and she recalls Mr. Lerner and Ms. Capen well as having a big impact on her academic loves, and she appreciated the enthusiasm and energy of all the West Essex staff members. So she had a lot of really positive things to say that the teachers she felt like really inspired her to continue to achieve higher. So fingers crossed, she'll be a physician soon, and we'll be seeing her continue being successful. Last but not least, we have Daniel Martiri from the class of 2022, so a very recent graduate as well. He is majoring in biomedical engineering at TCNJ. He actually came back to West Essex to do a presentation, and that's how he connected with one of his former teachers. And one of his former teachers says, oh, we do, or Mr. Ashok does an alumni showcase each year. It would be great to feature you because it's so cool what you're doing, and I think that you'd be, it's just nice to obviously talk about the success of all of our students. So in his case, his plan is to work with an international internship over the summer with either a nonprofit or NGO, hopefully in Argentina, but he said he was open to a few different countries, but he's excited about that opportunity, presumably in the biomedical engineering field. He recently gave a presentation to the students, like I had mentioned, and he talked about how he benefited greatly from the AP transfer credit process. When he basically went into his undergraduate, he had enough credits where he had like a significant advantage over his classmates in terms of getting everything done and kind of being able to choose classes that he wanted. He took AP Stats and AP Calculus, and he remembers most of his teachers, and Ms. Tom Carroll specifically was the one that he had the opportunity to reconnect with, so we were glad to have him featured here. I believe that summarizes what I wanted to share. Thank you so much. I think it's Dr. Dudley.
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to Greg and Stacy for exceptional presentations, very thorough. I'm going to pride myself tonight on being quick. Maybe not as thorough, but quick. I'm going for quick. Welcome to second semester, right? Believe it or not, in my household, now that Saquon is in the Super Bowl, we're like, let's go baseball. Bring on the Yankees, right? Football season's over for us Giants fans. So welcome to second semester.
It's been over for a while.
Yeah. So welcome to second semester. I know the high school struggles with, the midterm week, and it's a big stressful week for a lot of the high school kids. But in the middle school, it's an opportunity for us to regroup. We try and incorporate a lot of SEL type activities, regroup our minds, encourage the kids to have healthy minds, as well as focus on, what they can do different academically for the second semester. So we had a number of assemblies in the last 2 weeks, as well as upcoming. So Minding Your Mind was the first assembly. This was with Colin Quinn for our 8th grade. Colin spoke to the students about ending the stigma surrounding mental health, promoting education, encouraging the kids, saying, things can always get better, seek help when you need it, was essentially his message, and to follow their passions. We had Mikey Fallon come on the 23rd. He does an anti-bullying performance. Mikey has been coming every year for quite a long time. He's a poet, a psychologist. He kind of story tells, if you will, to teach the kids, anti-bullying type messages and make them aware of how others are feeling when things are said in the hallway and whatnot. So that's very powerful. We have a wonderful assembly I'm really excited for next week on the 29th, May in Poets. If any of you can make it, this is going to be both grade levels. It is going to be at the high school. They also do anti-bullying. They are theater trained. They're comedians, but they also do hip-hop, theater, improv, and stand-up comedy to tell the truth to live audiences, again, about bullying type scenarios. They're supposed to be very engaging for the kids, so we're really excited about them. So if you can come, I believe it's at 9 a.m. on the 29th at the high school. And then I know...
Wednesday, right?
It's Wednesday, yes. Yes. And then the Holocaust Assembly, I don't want to steal Dr. Westerveld's thunder, so I'm not going to talk too much about that, and I know the board's kind of already heard a little bit, but we are looking forward to that assembly as well on the 5th. The high school is set the bar high, so our middle school kids better. I'm gonna have to give them a talk this week about their behavior, right? We'll be ready to go, so we're excited for that. And then we had Stacy Kazayas mentioned Rogate, super proud of our team. Our teachers were so excited, Miss Jing and Miss Torres, when they came into the building. Like, their energy was palpable. It was just really fun to see how pumped up they were with their trophy and with their wins. This is a bigger picture. And Stacy asked me to remind you that we are hosting a tournament in May. So we are going to host a Rogate tournament here in May, which we're excited about. We're always a great host school. So Jeopardy style? Okay, so that should be a lot of fun as well. So that's really all I have from the middle school. I'll turn it over to the high school. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Congratulations, School Boards Month. This is awesome. Some recognition for you guys and your volunteer work. Just saying, I am a non-tenured principal. Okay, so a couple things I want to highlight. We had 78 students take our New Jersey State Seal of Biliteracy exam in 10 different languages. We had Arabic, French, Italian, Korean, Mandarin, Polish, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, and Turkish. And so I just want to give a little shout out to Senora DaCosta and Mrs. Laura Drago for organizing this. This is our 5th year doing this exam, and our students, once they pass the exam, they get this designation on their transcript that says they have the State Seal of Biliteracy. So it's a major accomplishment for them, and we're really proud of the number of students that take it and the different languages that we offer as well. Some extracurricular things that have been happening at the high school. We had Music Buddy Day earlier in the month. This is where the 4 sending districts send their 5th and 6th grade students to the high school, and they get buddied up with a middle school student and a high school student for band, choir, and orchestra. They spend the afternoon together. They get to talk about different things, and then there's a performance at the end, which really highlights just what our program is and kind of gets the students excited to continue on in the arts. We're also really excited to begin our Unified Sports Program. Dr. Elizabeth McQuaid introduced this program to our district, and she has Mr. Jared Capello, Ms. Alex Ayers leading it, and we have our student leader, Carly Levitt, grade 11. She's taking the lead on this initiative. We had an interest meeting earlier this month, and our Unified Sports Program is about inclusivity. It's about bringing kids of all abilities together. So our first event is this Wednesday after school in the cafeteria. It's a tie-dye social. We're providing the t-shirts so the kids can come if they're interested, and everyone's going to be tie-dyeing t-shirts. It's going to be really fun. We also have, I believe we're going to be doing a kickball event coming up, and there's one other thing. We're kickball and something else. I should have written that down. I did not. But we have more events coming up, and it's just something really positive for the school. Our students had expressed interest, and it's just anytime you get to see different groups of students coming together who typically don't come together, it just shows you how special West Essex is. Some of our culture and climate news. We did have midterm exams last week, and as you know, especially as parents of high school students, the midterm exams bring on a lot of stress and anxiety for our students. I don't know why. They all crush it. They all do amazing on the exams, but just the idea of exams is very stressful to them. So at our climate and culture meeting earlier in the month, the students said, can you bring the dogs back before midterm exams? Like, that really helps us. And we were like, yes. So thank you to the Coco family, who is our connection there, Bright and Beautiful Therapy Dogs. They brought Mel and Charlie, and Mel and Charlie were here, and the kids just loved it. I mean, you could hear the chatter in the hallway too. Dude, the dogs are here, you know, and everyone running up, and then you see Mel and Charlie, and they're huge and they're fluffy, and it made everyone's day a little bit brighter, and students felt a little more relaxed and calm going into the midterm week. As everyone has discussed tonight for Holocaust Remembrance Today, we had our presentation today, and Ruth Millman was the speaker. And I just want to acknowledge Mrs. Laura Drago, who was really adamant in getting them here. She must have sent me 800 emails, like, when can they come? When can they come? And so she made it happen. And I also have to say, you guys spoke of how great the students were. When we first talked about this, I said, definitely the 11th graders. It's perfect with the curriculum. It's all great. And Laura's like, how about the 9th graders? I'm like, and I was like, well. and just if you've worked in a high school as long as I have, you know that sometimes the ninth graders in a presentation is a gamble. So Laura was, we talked it through, and I said, yes, let's do it. And the kids really were fantastic because I believe, though, Ruth's story was just heart-wrenching, and it's truly bringing our curriculum to life when we have speakers like this come in. I really feel that it was an important day for them, and the students were fabulous, and just made me really proud to be there in the room with them. Another event that we had this month was our 8th grade open house. For the first time, we opened the doors to the 8th graders and their families to come in for a full open house event. It was cool. We had different building tours going on. The supervisors and teachers were leading information sessions. We were able to give out some West Essex swag. They had these nice bags that they were getting. The vibe in the building throughout the night was really positive, but then I received, written feedback from parents, which was just, very validating that all of that hard work was worth it. They said, listen, I had one parent tell me this was her 3rd child to come through, and she really felt that we did a great job in highlighting all that we offer. And that was just a nice event for everyone. And the supervisors were awesome, killing it that night because they had to do the same spiel 6 times in a row, and they did it, and it was great. So thank you, guys. And what do we have upcoming? So our No Place for Hate lessons are happening in the math classes the week of February 14th to the 19th. The lesson is on digital footprints and just reminding students that everything you put out there stays out there. So be very mindful of what you're putting out there and how it can affect your future. It's a really powerful lesson. So kudos to our math teachers for allowing us to bring this lesson into their rooms. And also save the date. Our Night of Knowledge is Wednesday, March 5th. For those of you who don't know, our Night of Knowledge is an opportunity for us to offer the community. We invite parents and students from grade 6 up through grade 12 to come in, and we offer various workshops that they can come to. And it's just a night, and we want parents and students to come together so that they're listening to the information together, and it opens up dialogue. This year, we're switching up the format a little bit. The first session is actually, we're inviting everyone to the first session. It's about, it's an intergenerational panel for a dialogue on social media and how students feel. It's about their perspective. Then we have some adult perspectives and parent perspectives. And so it's really going to be an engaging talk. And I think it'll be really useful, especially for parents of middle schoolers too. I know as a middle school parent myself, we're navigating the social media path, and it is challenging. So save the date, March 5th, Night of Knowledge. And that concludes the high school. Thank you, guys.
Actually, I'm remiss because I didn't say anything about your program for your incoming 8th graders. And it was a wonderful program. There were a few of us who did attend. And the same as you received emails, you know how it is. You go to a certain store and you just happen to run into people. And they're like, oh my God, it was great. We had kids there before, but we came away with a lot more excitement, they said, that they had at previous times. And actually, my husband ran into somebody in Starbucks and he goes, what did you do at school the other night? I didn't do anything. I said, we attended something. I said, why? He goes, well, so-and-so on the next neighbor, they were all at Starbucks and they were all talking about it and saying that, go home and tell your wife it was really wonderful. I said, well, thank you, I will pass it on, that, there was confirmation of what you're doing, which sometimes we don't hear the positive from parents, and we pray and hope that it got through, but it was a great program, and thank you also for inviting us to that. So I hope so. Any comments from board members?
Just real quick, thank you everyone for presenting. I didn't butcher your name, just say it. Besides. Glad to hear the focus on AI. It's got a lot of uses and applications, but also a lot of misuses and misapplications. Whether it's ChatGPT or how any of the social platforms are implementing your own tools. And glad to see that you're both teaching it vertically and horizontally across the staff, because not a lot of people understand how the tools work, and there's new tools coming out every day. So glad to hear that. And Jacqueline Carroll, we know her as Francie. I was sad to see her leave when I was on the Essex Fellows Board, but I'm glad that she's here now that I'm on this board. So, but thank you for your presentations.
I don't think we have any board committee going forward. We have policies that have come across our table and we have to look at going forward. Finance, we are going to be taking the direction of Ms. Vita and start working on budgets. I know you guys have all had your budget meetings with her. So we'll go forward with that. And our curriculum, anticipating, listening to what's being presented for next year and for during the summer, and look forward to hearing all about that. So we'll start to get our committee meetings going and anticipate working closely with you guys to hear all the exciting things you're going to have to offer. At this time, I'm open for public comments on agenda items only. Okay. With that being said, Finance, Jonathan?
Following finance motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 9, will be voted upon in one motion, and I so move.
Ms. Amo?
Yes on 1 through 6, and 9, abstain on 7 and 8.
Okay. Ms. Cristobal?
Yes.
Ms. C. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Scher?
Yes.
Mr. Stampone?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Wojciech?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes. Lila, Building and Grounds?
Yes, ma'am. The following building and ground motions are made with the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, item 1, will be voted upon in one motion, and I so move.
Second.
Ms. Amo?
Yes.
Ms. Cristobal?
Yes.
Ms. C. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Scher?
Yes.
Mr. Stampone?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Wojciech?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes. John, personnel motions?
The following personnel motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 11, will be voted upon in one motion, and I so motion.
Any questions?
Ms. Amo?
Yes.
Ms. Cristobal?
Yes.
Ms. C. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Scher?
Yes.
Mr. Stampone?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Wojciech?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes. Ruth, curriculum special ed?
The following curriculum special ed motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 and 2, will be voted upon in one motion, and I so move.
Second.
Ms. Amo?
Yes.
Ms. Cristobal?
Yes.
Ms. C. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Scher?
Yes.
Mr. Stampone?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Wojciech?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes. Any questions? Miscellaneous, Brett?
The following miscellaneous motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, items 1 through 9, will be voted upon in one motion, and I so move.
Second.
Ms. Amo?
Difficult again. Yes on 1 and 2, abstain on 3 through 9.
Ms. Cristobal?
Yes.
Ms. C. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Scher?
Yes.
Mr. Stampone?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
Ms. Wojciech?
Yes.
Ms. Calderon?
Yes. Okay, at this time, I'll open up public comments on agenda or non-agenda items. I just want to report out, next week, the board will having the retreat on February 5th to go over training from our attorneys, and our next board meeting will be on February 10th.
There being no further business before this Board of Education, be it resolved that this public meeting be adjourned at 8:44. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.